This is Tom with the Tournament Podcast, and if you're asking yourself, will my team make Super Bowl 56 this year? Well, you've come to the right place. We're going to break down each matchup using 7 statistical categories that I think are some of the most crucial in determining wins and losses. So let's get started. In our first matchup in the AFC, we have the number 4 seed, the Cincinnati Bengals, taking on the number 5 seed, Las Vegas Raiders. Both teams finished the season with a 10-7 record. So let's jump into our statistical categories here. The first thing we're going to compare are the quarterbacks. According to Pro Football Focus, Joe Burrow finished the season as the number 2 quarterback, Derek Carr as the number 15 quarterback. So we give that one to Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Head coach, this was something that I kind of determined myself, so give me a little leeway here. But I broke this down into AFC only for these two gentlemen, and I gave Zach Taylor the number 6 mark out of the 7 coaches, Rich Bisaccia the number 7, even though he's done a heck of a job as the interim coach, so that one also goes to the Bengals. Our third category, time of possession. If you're wondering how crucial time of possession is, the number 1 and 2 teams in the NFL this season in times of possession are the number 1 and 2 teams in all of football, the Tennessee Titans and the Green Bay Packers. In this matchup, the Bengals have a greater time of possession, so another check mark for the Bengals. Pro Football Focus again for the next 2 categories here, the offensive line and defensive line ratings. According to PFF, the Bengals have the better offensive line. They are ranked 20th, while the Raiders are at 28. And the defensive line, the Bengals have the 16th best in football, and the Raiders are down at 26. Turnover differential, a key factor throughout the entire season and really every game. And the Bengals actually are even on the season, and the Raiders are -9, so another check mark to the Bengals. And the final category that we're going to use here are penalty yards for the season. Ironically, the Bengals are the least penalized team in terms of yardage, and the Raiders are the most penalized team in the NFL this year in terms of yardage, so a clean sweep for the Cincinnati Bengals. We have them moving on to the second round. Next up, we have the number 3 seed, the Buffalo Bills, taking on number 6, the New England Patriots. We start off with quarterbacks here. We have Josh Allen versus Mac Jones. We give the edge to Josh Allen. In terms of head coach, let's be honest, we have the GOAT on one sideline, so the Patriots and Bill Belichick are going to get that check. We then go to time of possession, and that is for the Buffalo Bills. Next up, we have the offensive line. That is a positive for the New England Patriots. The number 1 defensive line in football, according to Pro Football Focus, is the Buffalo Bills. However, the Patriots are number 2. So this is a close matchup, but we give the slight edge to the Bills. Turnover differential, again, so close. The Bills are +8, and the Patriots are +7 on the season, but again, the nod goes to the Bills. And finally, penalty yards this season. The Patriots have done better than the Bills. However, 4-3, the Buffalo Bills move on. Next up, we have the number 2 seed, the Kansas City Chiefs, taking on number 7, Pittsburgh Steelers. These teams finished with vastly different records this season, but you can never count the Steelers out. Starting with the quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes gets the edge in this matchup. In terms of head coaches, we're going to give that edge to Mike Tomlin. Time of possession, that goes to the Kansas City Chiefs. The offensive line, also a big difference here, goes to the Kansas City Chiefs. The defensive line, also quite a vast difference with the edge going to the Chiefs. Turnover differential, both teams positive on the season, but the Chiefs slightly better. And penalty yards against the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to win that battle, but 5-2, the Kansas City Chiefs are moving on. All right, moving to the NFC, we're going to start with the number 4 seed, Los Angeles Rams, against number 5, Arizona Cardinals. PFF quarterback ranking gives a slight edge to Kyler Murray. In the head coaching department, we're going to go with Sean McVay. Time of possession, that is for the Arizona Cardinals. The offensive line is an edge for the Los Angeles Rams. The defensive line goes to the Arizona Cardinals. Turnover differential, we have a +12 on the season for the Arizona Cardinals. And penalty yards against, that is for the Los Angeles Rams. But 4-3, the Arizona Cardinals move on. Our next matchup is the Dallas Cowboys against the San Francisco 49ers. Quarterback edge, Dak Prescott. Head coaching edge, Kyle Shanahan for the 49ers. Time of possession, also a slight edge for the 49ers. We go back to the Cowboys that have the edge in the offensive line category. and defensive line category, two of the very best lines in all of football. Turnover differential also goes with the Cowboys that had a staggering plus 14 on the season. And penalty yards against is an edge for the 49ers. All told, 4-3, the Dallas Cowboys move on. The third wild card game is the number 2 seed Tampa Bay Buccaneers and number 7 Philadelphia Eagles. Starting off with the quarterbacks, no discussion needed here. Jalen Hurts is a fine quarterback, but he isn't Tom Brady. Bruce Arians against Nick Sirianni. We're going to give the edge to Bruce Arians and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Time of possession also goes with the Buccaneers. PFF offensive line, slight edge to the Buccaneers. PFF defensive line, slight edge to the Buccaneers. Turnover differential, plus 10 on the season for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the penalty yards against on the year, 842 versus 874, the edge Eagles. But 6-1, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers move on. Moving on to weekend number 2 in the AFC, we have the Titans taking on the Bengals. Titans are the number 1 seed, the Bengals number 4. So we're going to start off with the quarterback matchup here. Joe Burrow versus Ryan Tannehill, and we give the advantage to Joe Burrow. Next up, head coaching, Mike Vrabel versus Zach Taylor. We're going to go ahead and give the edge to Mike Vrabel. Time of possession, as I mentioned earlier, the Titans, one of the absolute very best in the NFL. They are second only behind the Green Bay Packers, so they get the edge here. Next up, we have the offensive line. That is an edge to the Tennessee Titans. The defensive line, also an edge to the Tennessee Titans, even though both are very close. The turnover differential is going to go to the Bengals, who are even on the season, and the Titans are -3. In penalty yards, as I mentioned earlier, the Bengals, the least penalized team in terms of yards on the season. However, 4-3, the Tennessee Titans are moving on to the AFC Championship. With the Titans in the AFC Championship, they are awaiting the winner of the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills, the number 2 and 3 seeds in the AFC. Starting off with the quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes versus Josh Allen. In terms of PFF, we give the edge to Josh Allen. Head coaching, Andy Reid versus Sean McDermott. We're going to go with Andy Reid. Time of possession goes to the Buffalo Bills. Offensive line goes to the Chiefs. Defensive line, the number 1 defensive line in football in terms of PFF grading, the Buffalo Bills. Turnover differential, that also goes to the Bills. They are +8 on the season versus the Chiefs at +4. And penalty yards, the Chiefs are at 925, the Buffalo Bills at 980, so the Chiefs win that battle. But 4-3, the Tennessee Titans will be taking on the Buffalo Bills in the AFC Championship. We're going to start off weekend number 2 in the NFC with the Green Bay Packers against the Arizona Cardinals. PFF quarterback ranking gives the edge to Aaron Rodgers. Head coach, we're going to give that to Matt LaFleur, who we are ranking as the number 1 head coach in the playoffs for the NFC. Time of possession, the number 1 team in football, edge Packers. Offensive line, very close here. They're pretty equal, but we have give a slight edge to the Green Bay Packers. Defensive line, quite a nice edge for the Arizona Cardinals. Turnover differential, again so close, but a slight edge to the Green Bay Packers. And penalty yards against one of the best teams in football, the Green Bay Packers. So with a 6-1 edge, the Green Bay Packers move on to the NFC Championship game. All right, who will the Green Bay Packers meet in the NFC Championship? It's between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Dallas Cowboys. PFF quarterback, of course, Tom Brady. Head coaching, we're going to go with Bruce Arians. So we have 2-0 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Dallas Cowboys are coming back in time of possession. They also get the nod in the Pro Football Focus offensive line category, as they are the number 1 offensive line in football versus the Buccaneers and number 2. The defensive line, also an edge for the Dallas Cowboys. Turnover differential goes with those Cowboys. And penalty yards against, a clear advantage for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But 4-3, we have the Dallas Cowboys moving on to the NFC Championship game. And what AFC team will make the Super Bowl this year? Tennessee Titans or the Buffalo Bills? Starting with the quarterbacks, Josh Allen versus Ryan Tannehill, edge Josh Allen. Head coaching, Mike Vrabel versus Sean McDermott. We're going to go with Mike Vrabel. Time of possession, the Tennessee Titans. Offensive line, the Tennessee Titans. Defensive line, again, the number 1 D-line in football, according to PFF, the Buffalo Bills. Turnover differential, the Buffalo Bills are +8 on the season. Titans are -3. Edge Bills. And finally, penalty yards on the season. Only 7 yards differentiate these two teams, but it comes down to the Titans winning, and in our book, that's 4-3. Tennessee Titans make the Super Bowl. All right, Green Bay Packers versus Dallas Cowboys for a ticket to the Super Bowl. Let's see what we've got here. PFF quarterback, Aaron Rodgers versus Dak Prescott. We're going to go with Aaron Rodgers. Head coaching, Matt LaFleur versus Mike McCarthy. Matt LaFleur. Time of possession, best team in football, Green Bay Packers. Offensive line, best team in football, Dallas Cowboys. Defensive line, again, a clear advantage for the Cowboys. Turnover differential, a slight advantage for the Cowboys, which makes us 3-3. Takes us down to the last category. The Packers are so dominant in terms of not getting penalty yards against them. They're going to win that category, and they're going to move on to the Super Bowl to take on the Tennessee Titans. And finally, our Super Bowl prediction, the Tennessee Titans and the Green Bay Packers, both number 1 seeds. We start off with the quarterbacks. We're going to go with Aaron Rodgers over Ryan Tannehill. Head coach, we're going to take Matt LaFleur over Mike Vrabel. Time of possession, only one team in all of football would beat out the Titans. That is the Green Bay Packers. The offensive line rating, we also go with the Packers. PFF D-line, that is a slight edge for the Titans. Turnover differential, big edge here, plus 13 on the season for the Packers, minus 3 for the Titans. And penalties, again, the Packers one of the very best in all of football with not hurting themselves. So we're going to predict Super Bowl 56 champions, the Green Bay Packers. Let us know what you thought about this video, what you thought about our selections. Please comment below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.